big thank you to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace.com is the easiest way to start your own website. Thank you, Squarespace. It's new turntable day. One of my favorite companies when it comes to making turntables. Yay! Has an entire new line. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about U Turn's new turntables. U Turn was founded in 2012. That means they're 11 years old. That's pretty cool. Seems like just yesterday. U Turn makes turntables. They have powered speakers. They make Phono preamps. They make all sorts of accessories for your turntables. And the coolest thing is, they're made in Massachusetts. That's right, they have a whole cadre of Keebler elves making turntables. Just kidding, they're real people with life-sized hands and human-sized brains. The takeaway is that this is a company in the US making turntables and making them at an affordable price. You can get a U Turn turntable for $250, but they're revamping the entire line. So we're going to talk about all the upgrades that they've done to the other turntables. So let's talk about what's different, but first, a word from our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to build your own website but been intimidated by the process? Well, fear not, because Squarespace has you covered. Squarespace.com is the easiest way to start your own website. The only thing that you have to do is fill out a few things about yourself or your business, and Squarespace is going to conjure up dozens of different designs for you to choose from, and then the only thing that you have to do is drag and drop your pictures and double click on the text box and fill stuff out about yourself or your business or your super fan club about multi-tools. multitoolenthusiast.com or .net or .org. Squarespace will help you out with all your domain reservations. Squarespace also has an awesome support section with videos and articles. So if you want to add e-commerce or a store to sell stuff, you can just go over the support section and learn everything you need to know and how to easily implement it into your own website. Squarespace also provides analytics, so you know who's clicking on your website and from where. It's super easy. I've created 3 websites on my own, and if I can do it, you can do it. So run on over to squarespace.com/cheapaudioman and enter the code cheapaudioman to get 10% off your first order. Thank you, Squarespace. One of the coolest things about U Turn is that you can basically build your own turntable. They're modular, which means if you don't want a tone arm lifter, you don't need to get one. If you don't want a Phono preamp, you don't need to get one. You want electronic speed control? Well, you can get that. You want better feet? Well, you can get that too. By the way, these are Vans, and they're ortholites, orthopedic Vans. I went to a concert, the Metallica concert, and every time I go to a concert, my feet hurt really badly. So I was telling my wife, I need new sneakers. And she's like, hey, do you know that Vans has orthopedic sneakers? I'm like, no. But I guess they know Gen X pretty well at this point. So I got some orthopedic Vans. They are a lot more comfy. This video is not sponsored by Vans at all, though, although it probably should be. What were we talking about? That's right, U Turn. So the new line of turntables comes with new colors, new hardwood options. You can add their premium adjustable feet that have, wait for it, sorbothane, which if you're an audio enthusiast, you may have heard of sorbothane before. It's a special magic goo that makes things sound better. It's got a revamped drive system, so now the platter has a groove for the belt, so it's a little bit easier to change speeds on the non-electronic speed adjustable turntables. The belt doesn't slip off as much, which happens when you get older. Your belt slips off for both people and turntables. Also comes with the new OA3 tone arm. So the OA3 tone arm is a single piece of magnesium. Also has adjustable counterweights and anti-skate. But the best thing about U Turn turntables is when you get the box at home, you open it up, you take it out of the box, and you can have it in your system playing records in like 5 minutes. It takes you longer to actually unpack each thing from the box than it does to play music. I like that. No adjustment. The U Turn new plus turntable. I think it's just called the Plus. They should have called it the Orbit Pro Plus. Orbit Plus Pro Plus. Food for thought, U Turn. Anyway, it comes with an acrylic platter. I love acrylic platter because not only do they supposedly sound better, but they also look way cooler. And I don't like it when I take a platter and I go ding. I like when I hit it, it just goes like that. I talked about it earlier, but the new platter actually has a groove for the belt. One thing is, if you had a U Turn turntable before, if you wanted to change to a 45 and you're listening to a 33, you had to move it. Now you still have to do that on the new Orbit Plus. However, with the groove, it's a lot easier to change that belt without the whole thing just falling off. Like your grandfather's pants at a family reunion. It comes with the Ortofon OM5E cartridge, which I think is a crazy awesome cartridge. I actually prefer the OM5E over the 2M Red, which is more expensive. I think the OM5E is more balanced, and it sounds very similar to the 2M Blue, which is a lot more expensive. That cartridge is on a fixed tone arm, which means if you want to change out the cartridge, you got to leave the tone arm in place and unscrew everything. But just keep in mind, nothing comes off the tone arm if you ever want to change out the cartridge. So if something comes off the tone arm, it's broken. So don't pull off the head shell. It doesn't come off. Also has an adjustable counterweight on the end. The cool thing about U Turn turntables, though, is that you don't need to adjust them. If you want to fiddle with turntables and put on different cartridges that require a different tracking force, then you can adjust it. I think for most people getting into vinyl, though, the less things that they have to worry about, the better. Because the quicker you're listening to the records, the more enjoyment you're going to have. I recommend U Turn, I recommend Fluence turntables, but if somebody wants to be able to just get something, take it out of the box and listen to it and not have to worry about it, U Turn is really the way to go. My table came with the Pluto 2 Phono Preamp. What a Phono Preamp does is it boosts the signal a little bit more. The signal coming out of a turntable or the cartridge is really low, so you actually have to boost it twice before it goes through your speakers. If you just have powered speakers that don't have a Phono Preamp, then you need a Phono Preamp. There's a lot of confusion about that for people just getting into the hobby. If you don't want to mess around with a Phono Preamp, or your receiver or your amplifier doesn't have an included Phono Preamp in it, then getting an integrated Phono Preamp in your turntable just makes things a lot easier. The Pluto 2 is a good Phono Preamp. Very punchy on the bottom and very forward in the upper mid-range. So you're going to hear vocals really good. You're also going to hear a lot of bass with that Phono cartridge. However, if your amplifier or your receiver or your powered speakers have an integrated Phono Preamp, then you don't necessarily need to get that on your turntable. Another cool thing about U Turn, if you don't need the Phono Preamp, you don't need to buy it. Pricing. Prices have gone up, just like everything else. But you get a better tone arm and you get a grooved platter, either acrylic or MDF, that makes it a lot easier to change out the belt. And on the Orbit Special, you get electronic speed control, just like their flagship Theory, which is right behind me. When I got the Theory in, I loved the looks of it and I loved the operation, so much so that I bought it. So it sits right here, and I'm down to 2 turntables and a microphone. I've got my Orbit Theory and I have my Metallica turntable, the limited edition one from Project. When I'm listening for pleasure, I'm generally listening to vinyl, and I've gotten to the stage where I just don't want to mess around with changing out cartridges anymore. I still can change out any cartridge I want, but for me, I just like to turn on a record and enjoy it. One other difference about U Turn turntables are they are internally grounded through the positive RCA going out of the turntable. A lot of turntables have a separate grounding wire, but you don't have to worry about that with a U Turn. You just plug the RCAs into the back of your powered speaker or your amplifier or your receiver. So what are my final thoughts? Final thoughts. You got the Orbit Basic coming in at $250. Orbit Plus, the one that I have, starting at $399. The Orbit Special, this is the one with the electronic speed control, that starts at $549. So being able to get electronic speed control in this package at $549 is pretty good. And it's easy, and I think that's what I love about U Turn turntables the most. They are easy. And at the end of the day, I just want to throw on a record and have it sound good. I think the OM5E is a brilliant cartridge at the price. There are other turntables out there at competitive prices from Fluence, but guess what? They're not assembled in Massachusetts. They don't have a 3-year warranty or lifetime customer support. I think U Turn is crushing it, and they're bringing in a whole new generation into vinyl. And vinyl is so awesome. You can go to Walmart or Target and pick up a vinyl record today. So jump on over to U Turn's website. I will link it in the description. I do not have an affiliate relationship with U Turn, which means if you click and you buy, I don't get any commission. This video is also not sponsored by U Turn. They just sent me a table and asked me if I would make a video about it. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. You can sign up for Amazon Music, Tidal, or Rune. Links in the description. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Down at the bottom of the video, there's a thanks button. You can throw a couple of dollars my way, put a little money in the tip jar, but don't feel compelled to buy me anything. And there'll be some other links in the description. Those are affiliate links, which means if you click and buy, I do get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more. So it's a great way to support the channel. You can also check out my watch channel. Not only do I love audio equipment, but I love watches. I will link one of the videos here if you want to check those out. I'll also link another cool video that you should check out. Right over here. Or maybe over here. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen, maybe through your new U Turn turntable, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.